Shabbat Shalom. Call Halal Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Bahashim HaKwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us its truth. Shabbat Shalom and salutations to all the brothers that pushing the word of truth and in sincerity. My brother Yahshua, I'm back with the World War III Daily Update. You can keep this short as possible. Not much is going on except for World War III proper. So let's start with that. In the Bible, World War III, all right? Revelation 9 and 12, and every now and then we'll come back to this just to, brush up. All right, one woe is past. All right, so what does this mean? That means that everything from Revelation 9 and 1 down to 11 is describing World War I. This word woe means destruction in the Bible. Okay, and this is referring to World War I. One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. So this first woe is being described by John the Revelator on the Isle of Patmos, and he's speaking in code, all right, because he would get in trouble at the time if he was saying certain things, so he coded it. And also, some of the things that he was being shown in the vision, he couldn't explain. So he did his best while coding and while trying to describe something that he hadn't seen. Okay. All right. So that's World War I. And this is World War II. So in between these two sections here, they go into the coming of World War II. Okay, and here's World War II, Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, just as it was in the first. This is World War II. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right? Now, from there we'll go to Joel, third chapter, and here's the Most High gathering the armies for World War III into the valley of Jehoshaphat. I will also gather all nations and bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people, for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and part of my land. Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, it was Donald Trump who said we're going to give the Palestinians a Palestinian state, and Jerusalem is the capital of Israel, like a year or so ago. All right, so anyway, let's look closer at this, where it says, Joel 3 and 2, New Living Translation, God says, I will gather the armies. Here it says, all nations, but what it actually means is the armies of all nations of the world into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Why? Let's look further. There will I judge them for harming my people. Okay? It says, say to the nations, this is Joel 3 and 9, say to the nations far and wide, get ready for war. Why is he gathering the armies into the valley of Jehoshaphat? For World War III. Get ready for war. Call out your best warriors. Let all your fighting men advance for the attack. Hammer your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Train even your weaklings to be warriors, or this actually means right here, hammer your plowshares in and make the best weapons that you can, including nuclear. It says, let the weak say, I am strong. Let's get that real quick in the KJV. Let the weak say, I am strong, meaning countries like Iran, who supposedly don't have a nuclear weapon, make one. What does this say? Make weapons out of your gardening tools. So what does this say? Make weapons out of out of what you have to let the weak say I am strong. It means those that have been being bullied by those who have weapons of mass destruction, or nukes, if you will, let those build their own. This is about building weapons. Beat your plowshares into swords. A sword is a weapon of war. Pruning hook, that's a gardening tool. Make that into a spear and refine your uranium and go ahead and make that nuke we was talking about. Okay? And we'll go back. All right? Let all your fighting men advance for the attack. Oh, we read that. Come quickly, all you nations everywhere, gather together in the valley. And now, O Lord, call out your war. And now, O Lord, call out your warriors. That's God and his angels. Because God is known as the Lord of hosts. The word hosts means armies. So God has his own army. We call them the angels. It says, let these nations be called to arms. Let them march to the valley of Jehoshaphat. All right. Why? There I, the Lord, will sit to pronounce judgment on them all. Okay, and that's another thing. We won't go into that right now. But the point is that God is gathering all the troops, all the armies of the world down into the Middle East. All right, and here you go to Secret Files 333, we see that. All right, 21 hours ago, I think we left off about right here. Okay, and this is World War III, as you can clearly see. Taiwan needs help. China sends 56 jets into Taiwan. What is this going to cause? If the U.S. is an ally to Taiwan, right, when actually Taiwan belongs to China, China want their province back. What's that going to do? It's going to cause World War III. All right. Well, Iran and the Arabs in that area, they want their land back that somebody came in and took, claiming to be the Jews. All right? Those Arabs are like, you don't belong here. Over here, the Chinese are saying, this is our land. You stole it from. And then you got up in what used to be the USSR, right? The Medes. You got the Ukraine. You got Crimea. You got these places where the Americans went and set up a bunch of missile systems so that they'll have an easy strike on Russia. They're like, no. Nope. And guess what? USA, they want Cuba back, where Russia set up a bunch of missiles back during what they call the Russian missile crisis, right? And the missiles are still there. They never left. What does that spell? It spells World War III. Okay? And it's going to be fought on different fronts, not just in the Middle East. All right? The Black Sea, the South China Sea, right? And in the Middle East. And right here in the good old US of A. All right, so 8 hours ago, U.S. raises concern as China flies warplanes south of Taiwan. All right, saber rattling, if you will. All right, we know what's going on in Afghanistan. Okay, and this is saying the same thing. An hour ago, Taiwan is done. China jets continue flights in Taiwan defense zone. Let's take a look at this real quick.
When advertising on YouTube...
No commercials. All right, so World War III is underway.
China jets continue flights in Taiwan defense zone. Record number of China planes enter Taiwan air defense zone.
Provoking the U.S. Okay, what can Taiwan do against China? Right? Not a lot. So they need some assistance from their ally. Dragging U.S. into, probably something that they ain't even ready for yet.
Taiwan has urged Beijing to stop irresponsible provocative actions after a record number of Chinese warplanes entered its air defense zone. Monday's incursion marks the fourth straight day of incursions by Chinese aircraft, with almost 150 aircraft sent into Taiwan's defense zone.
Monday was yesterday.
Total. Some analysts say the flights could be seen as a warning to Taiwan's president ahead of the island's National Day. Beijing views Taiwan as a breakaway province. However, democratic Taiwan sees itself as a sovereign state. In an essay for Foreign Affairs magazine on Tuesday, Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen warned there would be catastrophic consequences for peace and democracy in Asia if the island were to fall to China. It would signal that in today's global contest of values, authoritarianism has the upper hand over democracy, she wrote. Ms. Tsai added that while Taiwan did not seek confrontation, Taiwan would do whatever it takes to defend itself. Taiwan has been reporting for more than a year that China's Air Force has been repeatedly flying nearby. The latest Chinese mission included 34 J-16 fighters and 12 nuclear-capable H-6 bombers, which all flew in an area near the Taiwan-controlled Pratas Islands, according to a map provided by the Taiwanese government.
All right, so as you can see, this thing is not about to turn around. What is Iran doing right now in Israel? Okay, let's go to Deep Journal. All right. Right here, breaking. This is 16 hours ago. Massive U.S. impact hits Iran. Israeli vehicle hit by Russia. China didn't expect this. Let's look into this. Did we see this?
Dear listeners, welcome to the Deep Journal channel. By subscribing to our channel, you can be informed about detailed reports every time. Threats to Israel's border security in the Middle East are increasing day by day. Iran-backed militants continue their actions that threaten Israel's national security in every region of the Middle East. One of Israel's biggest problems right now is the conflict on the Azerbaijan-Iran border and Iran's nuclear program. However, the danger escalated as the Iranian-backed Hezbollah militants, who control Lebanon on Israel's southern border, also strengthened its political authority in Lebanon. After Hezbollah announced that it would export oil from Iran despite U.S. sanctions, Hezbollah publicly consolidated its political authority in Lebanon by repeatedly bringing oil from Iran. Iran-backed Hezbollah militants threatened the U.S. and Israel not to interfere in oil shipments. However, Israel announced that it would not intervene in the oil shipments from Iran in a very humane and constructive manner, without engaging in verbal confrontation with the marauding Hezbollah militants, as it also considers the survival of its Lebanese citizens. However, Hezbollah militants feed terrorist elements behind their political and economic moves. Realizing this, the U.S. administration immediately took action. The U.S. administration made a joint agreement with Qatar and imposed sanctions.
No commercial. So as you can see, nothing is going to stop World War III from moving.
Sanctions against Iran-backed Hezbollah militants. Mid this week, the United States and Qatar, in a joint statement, officially sanctioned Hezbollah's financial resources in Lebanon. This move is also a necessary condition for Israel's survival and border security. In addition, Hezbollah militants announced that they shot down an Israeli army drone the other day. Hezbollah said it shot down the drone at around 1:55 p.m. near the town of Yadir in southern Lebanon, targeting it with appropriate weapons. The IDF said the device was performing routine activities when it was dropped. The IDF said it was investigating the incident. In addition, last week, the regime forces in Syria announced that they had successfully shot down and destroyed an Israeli drone with Russian air defense systems. The IDF made a similar statement again. An Israeli drone allegedly shot down by Iran-backed Hezbollah militants and an Israeli drone allegedly shot down by Russian-backed regime forces were shot down for the second time this week. Even if such claims by Hezbollah militants in Lebanon are true, they seem trivial and outdated for the Israeli military. Because the Israeli army sends reconnaissance drones and similar aircraft to the Lebanese border and airspace almost every day. These aircraft are generally unarmed and not designed to initiate a conflict. For the IDF, such losses seem insignificant because the IDF claims that information from drones shot down and captured by Hezbollah militants will not be leaked. It is quite normal for Israel to fly with reconnaissance drones and similar aircraft in Lebanese airspace. Because Iran-backed Hezbollah militants and Iranian militants in Syria have recently captured areas very close to the Golan Heights on its southern border. In this case, Israel makes it possible to carry out such air actions in its sensitivity to the Golan Heights and its just cause. What Israel is doing seems much more innocent than Iran's militant actions, and it seems like a self-defense just to protect its borders. Despite everything, the US and Israel seem to need to be more careful and cautious about the increasing Iranian militant activities in the region and Russia's support for Syria and Iran.
And there you have it. That last statement says it all. This thing is about to spiral completely out of control, as it is already, all right? And it's going to quickly escalate to the nuclear football of each country, all right? So saith the scriptures. So with that, we're going to go ahead and close it up. We hope that the elect were edified, and with that, we're going to say shalom.